Back in April 2023, I bought a van.
I just picked up a van.
This 2009 E-Series was the perfect blank canvas to build out my dream rig to take on adventures all over the world. It's already been to British Columbia, Alberta, Idaho, and all over Montana. Since purchasing the van, I've done very few modifications. It's still bare bones on the inside and two-wheel drive. Now, it's finally time to make some big changes. Such a gorgeous morning out here. Right now we're driving through the Great Plains of Montana down to Colorado. We got some big plans in the works for this bad boy right here. The excitement is brewing. Big things are happening. We're finally actually doing some real modifications to the van. It's time to get our four-wheel drive kit installed. So we're headed down to Ujoint, Colorado. They're gonna tear out all the suspension, all the axles, everything on the van, and put in a completely new system. This thing is gonna be a total beast when it's converted. I'm so freaking excited. It's gonna have a 6-inch lift, 35-inch tires. It's gonna be unstoppable. Another point of this journey, we're also gonna meet up with Amy and Chase from Tight Loops and Scotty from Wildfly, who you guys probably know. We're gonna premiere Hope and High Water. I haven't even seen this film at all yet. I haven't seen any of the edits. I filmed it and then handed the footage off to them, and they've been tackling the edit. So I'm really excited to see what's in store there. Hopefully see some of you guys at the premiere. And we're gonna continue on this drive down to Denver. Got about 13 hours left. It's quite a cruise. While I was on the road, I couldn't stop imagining how much of a game changer it was going to be once this van is converted to four-wheel drive. It's always a gamble driving across the West in the winter, and with two-wheel drive, I just don't have that peace of mind. The conversion will certainly make this van more capable off the road, but I also look forward to improved driving qualities on the road. As much as I would like to imagine myself driving this van across the world on dirt roads in the middle of nowhere, the reality is most of my time spent behind the wheel will be on the highway. Well, just made it to Denver. It's time to go inside and say hi. There she is. The infamous Tundra. Yo! How's it going?
Dude?
Good seeing you, dude.
Happy late 30th, baby.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Feeling a little old and crusty.
Yeah.
We're here at the venue, getting ready for the big premiere. It's kind of crazy. This is a little bit bigger than I expected. I didn't really know what to expect. 300 something people are coming. It's a sold out show. It's kind of crazy. By the time this video comes out, the main film should be available to watch. I'll add a link below. It's called Hope and High Water. It's gonna be through a paywall. You might have to pay some money to watch it, but it'll be well worth it. Well filmed by me, yours truly, of course. Super glad to be here to support the team. Wow.
We're doing it, Will. We're doing it.
Director, producer, cameraman, fisherman,
guy,
dangler,
influencer, whatever. Whatever. This is crazy though. It's like so much different than a YouTube premiere. Obviously, there's gonna be less people than would watch a YouTube video, but don't know the words.
Less people, more energy.
More energy.
More cowbell and more beer.
And more beer. Yes, dude. Let's go. Get them while they're hot.
fresh off the press, baby.
Fresh off the press. Luke is our
up,
merch
guys?
guy.
Nice to
He's been
meet y'all.
helping us out the last couple years, and he helped basically get all this merch together and
Yeah,
get
man.
it ordered, and now he's here in person.
All based off your ideas.
Yeah, man.
Seriously, man, good work.
Leica from Germany.
The little red tag. Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you to Jamie Clayton for making the trip out. And now, without further ado,
in a place like this with time to just sit and think and explore.
Well, guys, last night was such a success. We got to thank each and every one of you for coming out and for supporting the team. I'm going to take this van right here over to Ujoint and get this build started. It's been a long time coming. This is the beginning of a new era for the van.
A new era.
Nice YouTubing. Nice YouTubing.
We're out here YouTubing.
Dude, I can't wait to see the conversion. I, for one, am very excited to see what happens with this van.
Well, you understand how much it takes to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's going to be unreal.
at least someone can appreciate it.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah, I can't yet. I just have a Honda Pilot with a Tapui on it. That didn't work.
I'm Will.
Justin, good to meet you in person.
Nice to meet you too, brother.
Yeah, I'm super pumped to be here. This is awesome, just seeing these vans.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
yeah.
You kind of like don't really get a scale of them, like on picture and video, you know. But in person, you stand next to one, you're just like, oh my god. Hey there, my name's Justin from Ujoint Off-Road, Colorado. We're here with Will, just a little bit north of Denver in Frederick, Colorado. So what we do here is we do four-wheel drive conversions and off-road upfitting of any Ford E-Series based vehicle built 92 to current. So basically what we're doing is we're taking a stock contractor van like Will's got here, more or less, two-wheel drive, open differential, and then we take it and we turn it into just a complete off-road capable machine like this one over here. So we add a solid front axle underneath the front end. We do all kinds of cool stuff like these bumpers. We re-gear the differentials, put lockers in them, big tires, side steps, winches, lights, switch modules, overload airbags, anything you can think of to take one of these things and turn it into basically the ultimate off-road machine. But not only are they off-road machines, but they're also extremely good driving vehicles. So you can still drive these things 85 miles an hour down the freeway with the cruise control on with one finger on the steering wheel. And we're the only ones on the market that can offer something like that.
It's finally time to pull into the shop and get started on the build.
Take a good look at it. It's going to be the last time it looks like this.
Ujoint is the absolute best when it comes to E-Series 4x4 conversions. Justin walked me through the entire process and gave me expert advice on how to design my build based on how I was going to use the van. As an owner of a Tacoma, I told him I didn't want to make any sacrifices when it came to off-road capabilities. Another thing we noted was the weight I was going to add later with the future interior build.
All right, so this is your new fuel tank. So we have a fitment issue of where the transfer case that we're attaching to the back of the transmission goes into some real estate where the fuel tank currently sits. So we have to chop it down and then we recap it and it's all TIG welded and everything and resealed. And that gives us all the room we need for the transfer case. So you lose a couple gallons fuel capacity, but really not that big of a deal in the long run. Just got your tires off the truck. It's a 35 1250 17 BFG KO2. These are fantastic tire. I mean, they're great all around. They wear really well, and they're absolutely the best snow tire there is. These things are just an absolute animal in the snow. So any guys that need them for snow performance, like Will here, this is always going to be our recommendation. And then we are going to stick those on to our favorite Method 701 Trail Series wheel. Here they are. So the reason why we like these so much is Method calls it a bead grip technology. So if you see right here, this is where the tire actually is sitting. So this is like this serrated thing here, and then it's got this big lip on both sides. This basically makes it impossible to break a bead off the tire. So, most people have heard of bead locks before, where you've actually got physical bolts clamping the bead onto the wheel. There's been guys that have done tests with these things, 0 PSI in the tires, and you can't pop the bead off the tire off-road. And these are the only ones on the market that offer anything like that. So we run these on almost all of our builds.
As soon as the wheels lifted off the ground, the van was being stripped down at the speed of light. I could barely keep up since so much was getting done. I just tried to stay out of the way and let the pros do what they do best.
All right, first thing coming off, sway bar. First step of the process. There's still stuff that's like useful for us, so like when we're tearing this apart, like you see me saving some stuff, like I clip the connectors off the end of this because we reuse these in certain aspects. The brake calipers I just took off, they're more or less the same brake calipers that are going back on because of the year and model of your van. It has already the huge giant brakes calipers on it, not the rotors. So now I take yours and I send them back as a core for the new caliper that I'm going to buy to put on it. So like there's still some stuff that we have to be conscious of.
At this point in the conversion, there's so much that needs to be done before all these new parts go on, like the onboard air and transfer case. The old undercarriage gets completely stripped down, repainted, and rebuilt from scratch. It's almost like getting a brand new van all over again, but better.
So Will brought us basically like the perfect example of a van that you could ever want to convert. So people all the time ask us like, hey, what should I be looking for when I'm going to build one of these vans? So our go-to is anything 06 and newer, V10. There's a bunch of different variations, extended body, regular body, windows, whatever. But V10's the best engine that ever came in these because it's the most powerful. And then after 06, it came with what's called a 5R110 transmission behind it, which is absolutely just like one of the most bulletproof automatic transmissions that was ever made. And then also, what's good about it too, is it's super easy to convert to 4-wheel drive. And this one's super low mile, super clean, really good condition frame. It's everything we want to see in a good candidate. So you did a good job. So this part right here, drilling the spring hangers, this is like absolutely the most important part of the entire process. Like everything we do from this point forward for getting a front axle underneath this all revolves around these 2 spring hangers being exactly in the perfect spots. Everything we build off from here for the rest of the next 2 weeks is all based off of this right now.
Once holes were being drilled in the frame, that's when I was really glad to be trusting the pros with this build. There was no way I could do this on my own, because any big mistakes could potentially ruin my van. It's hard enough to find a clean rig like this once, and I don't want to have to do it again.
This part's a little bit like watching paint dry, huh?
Exhaust will come out and get rerouted where both banks of the engine are going to come under this side, come down the passenger side. That makes room for the T-case to sit right here, and also makes room for where the drive shaft is going to go back to the front axle.
All right, so while I'm sitting here turning this bolt out, Will was just asking me about rear wheel spacers. So that's the one thing we get questions on a lot. So the reason why we run wheel spacers in the back is twofold. So The first one is basically because the stock van rear Dana 60 axle, it's actually 4 inches narrower than the truck front axle that we're putting in the front. And also the truck and the van rear axles have different bolt patterns. So the truck is 8 on 170 bolt pattern, and the van is 8 on 6.5 bolt pattern. So it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. So we adapt the bolt pattern to 8 on 170, and then we correct the track width front to back so it's same, because you always want to have the same track width front to back wherever possible. So a lot of people get weird about spacers, but we use super high quality steel wheel spacers, and we've never had a single problem with them. So wheel spacers kind of got like a weird bad reputation years and years ago because people using poor quality ones. But these days, if you torque them right and use Loctite on them, there's no problems anymore.
There it is. Yep. Go that way. Oh! Oh, super cool.
So this is our plasma cutting jig that we use to index in the frame, where we're going to cut the hole for the shackle pivot. So like what a shackle is, it's a leaf spring, it's a big arch like this, right? So when an arch flattens out, it gets longer, right? So we've got to have somewhere for that extra length to go, so that's what a shackle is for. So like you can see on the back over here, like the factory shackle is still in place. This thing, as the suspension moves up and down, this thing, it's all the way down right now, but then as it comes back, this is going to come over here. So we need something similar to that in the front with the leaf springs we're going to install. So what we do is we plasma cut a hole through the frame right here, and then we weld this DOM tube into the frame like this, and then this is going to have bushings that press into it, and then we're going to have our own shackle that we make that's going to hold the rear of the leaf spring. Alright, so this jig that I've just put up right here, this is for cutting the cross member. So we actually have to cut a big old chunk out of this factory cross member to give the axle enough room underneath to like go upwards. We call that up travel or bump travel in the off-road world. So we just need to have enough room for that axle to travel upwards and not run into anything in the frame. So we're getting ready to make that cut right now. Cut in the frame, so now we can take these off, the front spring hangers. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these over to be powder coated. So we do all of our cutting and welding that involves these being up on the frame first. So that's all done. So now we're going to go back through, prep the upper spring buckets for the new shock tabs to be welded on. Then we're going to weld in our shackle sleeves, and then we're going to go back through and clean up and repaint the entire frame.
So sick hanging out here for the last few days while the guys at Ujoint did some work on the van. They're making progress, but it's gonna take a couple weeks for this whole process to be finished. So I'm gonna head out back to Montana, and I'll be back here in a couple weeks to pick it up and see this thing for the first time fully converted. So freaking stoked. Stay tuned for the next video. We're gonna reveal the van in person and show you guys what it's all about. So thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right, well, what are we doing right now?
We're going to get tatted up, boy.
About to get our first tattoo with the crew, with the whole Hope and High Water crew. Chase and Amy already beat us here. Where we've been inspired.
We're inspired. Scotty and I are tattoo virgins. Yeah. We're gonna pop our cherries together.
mean, I don't know. I feel like anyone who tells you it doesn't hurt like a bitch is lying, because it's definitely painful and kind of shocking.
Definitely doesn't feel amazing.
You know, it doesn't. I'll never forget the first time I took my mom to get tattooed. I was working at a tattoo shop, and the owner tattooed her. And I had to go back with her and sit down, and she got one on her forearm, and he started tattooing her, and she just looked at me, and she was like, "This hurts like a lot." And I said, "I know." She goes, "How do you have so many of these? Like, this is awful."